Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of the Real DnD podcast, campaign 3. Tonight, we have 2 of our players. Sadly, Abby could not join us tonight, but that doesn't mean that we aren't going to be playing some really, really fun D&D. And I know that it's been a long time, so let me do a quick little recap for everyone. Last we left off, our party had just discovered a secret passageway that led from down in the basement where Jordan has been staying and all the way up into Josiah's room. One of our party members decided it would be a really great idea to just crawl on underneath the prince's bed while he was asleep and just kind of get a look around. Eventually, everybody was up there. They had a little conversation with the prince, who 100% thought that this was all a dream. They then leave the prince's room and find themselves on the second floor of the castle. And looking around, they see there are 3 other doors. They check. They see that one is an empty bedroom. One is a darkened room, and one has a bunch of guests in it, seemingly orcish of nature. They then enter the empty bedroom and figure out quite easily that it was Jordan's bedroom before she ran away. They then do some snooping and figure out that the Prince Josiah has no idea that Jordan is alive, and that his parents have been lying to him about that, and that Jordan's room has actually been untouched all of these years. They then leave the bedroom and are currently in the hallway by the grand staircase deciding what to do. And with Kyrie not here, I will be playing as her for today's session. But that's where we left off, and that is where we are. So what would you 2 like to do? Yes. They are actively awake, yes. Correct. Yes. Yeah, there's the room, the darkened room where you guys tried to peek in the peephole and it was just dark. Mm-hmm. Yes, good. The darkened one? That's the assumption, yeah. Yes. And there is also like the stairs. You could go to the first level, or you could take the secret passage back down to Jordan's like hideaway. You guys did the dining room, the servants' quarters, and the infirmary. Alright, as you guys make your way downstairs, can you roll me stealth checks? Awesome. Okay, not too bad. So, you guys are heading down the stairs, and as you do, you are looking around and you see that normally there are guards seemingly posted at the stairs. At least that's what you've like inferred so far, but there's nobody there. And when you look around, you can see that there is a hallway to your left, a hallway to your right, and both of those hallways lead to more hallways. You guys have done the dining room, the servants' quarters, and the infirmary. I'd say just based on the fact that you've been here for a day now and you guys have had conversation with Jordan, that you probably know what rooms are in the general direction of where. So it's up to you as to what room you want to go into. Mm-hmm. Yes, it has. All right. So as you guys head to the infirmary, you notice that it's eerily quiet. When you guys were here last night, there was not a ton of guards, but you at least saw them. They were walking around doing rounds and standing post in the corners of the castle, and you have yet to see one this night. But you make your way to the infirmary, and do you guys just open the door and head right in? Yeah, you can do that. Just make me a perception check. Okay, with that, you can see that it looks like there's no light in there. Nobody is in there from what you don't notice anyone walking around. Yes. Okay. You open the door and you both head in and you look around and it is not the same from what you left it yesterday. It is yesterday you had dragged a dead body into here and it wasn't messy, but it wasn't all in its place. And now everything looks back to as it was before you had even entered in here. There's no dead body. The knight is no longer in there. And everything is back to exactly how it was. And both of you make me a perception check. Elaina with advantage. Okay, and as you guys are both looking, you both clock at the same time that those health potions that you took seemingly are back there. You check in your pocket, you still have them, but somebody has replaced them and put them back. There are 2 rows, each with 3. Okay. Do you take? Where from do you take? The top, or the bottom? Okay. Okay. Sam, you can add just a common potion of healing to your inventory. Though it's 2d4 plus 2. And, Jack, you can add a greater healing to yours. That's 4d4 plus 4. They, you notice that they seem to be categorized as if, the bottom is just, average healing potions, and the top seem to be, the more important ones. Yes, let me load a character really quick. You're gonna go to inventory, and then go to where it says manage inventory, and you could just type it in. Just a normal potion of healing. Yeah. Is there anything else you guys want to do in this room? All right. Okay, you guys make your way to the library, and as you're walking there, you notice that the, like, official entrance to the, like, outside the gate and stuff, is unguarded. When you guys were making your way to the infirmary last time, you saw that there were guards there. They didn't see you, and now there's no one there. And this is like right next to the library. So as you make your way into the library, you see that this room is huge. Like, besides the dining room, it is the biggest room that they have. It is like there are multiple rows of books, and it is like extremely dusty. Like, you probably sneeze when you enter. And as you're looking around, you see that, like, yeah, parts of it are used pretty frequently. Like, there's a bunch of books on, like rare herbs and, like, flowers and gardening and stuff like that. That area seems to get a lot of use. And, you, like, see that, like, certain memoirs get checked out, I say in quotes. They get, like, used a lot. But what doesn't get used is the area that would have, like, books on magic and stuff. You would think that they just wouldn't have a magic section because they are so anti-magic. But there is, like, most of the library has something to do with magic, as if, like, they had these books before they changed the rules and they haven't gotten rid of them yet. They haven't been touched that you can notice, but they're still there. So what are you guys looking for in here? All right. Give me a... Gosh. I would say a investigation check. Yes, you can. All right. So as you're looking around, you make your way over to this part of the library that gets used the most, and you notice that the books on, like, medicine and such are compiled with the books on, like, magic herbs and home remedies and stuff, and you get the impression that somebody in this castle is really trying to figure this out, and they're, like, really trying to get Josiah's illness under control. You got a 15? I'd say it's hard to tell, but the fact that like all of this stuff is together and it's clearly been used more than anything else, you get the impression that whether or not it is helping or hurting, they are very passionate about it. That being said, what is your guys' passive perception? So Sam, 14? Alright. Sam, that's going to be in the left side of your thing underneath, like in the senses category, and it'll say passive whiz in parentheses perception. 13? Okay. Poplin, you don't know why, but the hairs on the back of your neck are starting to stick up as you watch your new friend look for answers in this library. You can almost swear that it feels like somebody's watching you. Mm-hmm. Going up and down the aisles. Mm-hmm. Okay. Make a deception check as you do that. Suddenly the feeling's gone. Nobody's watching you anymore, you don't think. You think that must have been a trick. There's nobody in here. It's the middle of the night. Why would anybody be in the library? Mm-hmm. Yes. While you go over there, make me you're going to make 2 rolls for me. You're going to make an Arcana roll, and you're also going to make an investigation. Okay. Okay. So you wander over to the magic side of the library, which is like over half of the library. And as you're walking up and down the aisles and you're looking at the titles and such, you are noticing, just like based off of the dust pattern alone, that almost none of these have been touched in a very, very long time. But some of them have. And some of them have been touched, and some of them have obviously been tried to make it look as if it hasn't been. And all of those books are like books on like magic, health, and like reviving people from the dead and stuff like that. They all have the one thing in common, that is, what do I do when somebody is already dead. Yeah, they're not, like, anything too important. It's, like, historic, like, people of impact from, like, history. Like, oh, my great-grandfather's memoir. Like, just people from this specific kingdom's history. There's not a lot of things here that, like, even hint towards an outside world. Outside of... Correct. Yeah. Um, Give me an investigation check. Okay. So, you're looking at the books that are, like, on this table. And it's, like, naturalistic stuff at first. And it's stuff that makes sense. It's like if you were really desperate of getting somebody help, and you're like, okay, now, well, this didn't work. What if I'm just looking at the wrong thing? What if it's actually a secret thing I need to plant? Or what if it's secretly a crystal? Like, it's like things that won't actually cure anybody. And then when you get deeper into the books and you're looking at, like, the titles and such, you start to notice that whoever has gotten these out has figured something out, or else these books wouldn't still be here. They would have been put away and discarded. And there are a few books, all of which have to do with cleric level things, all of them talking about the benefits that, like, a greater restoration could have on somebody, or the benefits of, like, a wish spell and stuff like that. As you're looking, there are books labeled 1, 2, and 4. In these books, like, greater restoration, wish spell, and the fourth one being, like, what a revivify could do. And the third one is not on the table. And Sam, as Elaina is walking over in the magic section, you see a section that is missing 3 books. And it's like you've yet to see a blank spot in the bookcases. But suddenly there's, like, a space where 3 books are no longer there. And you look and you see the 3rd edition in some series. It's just placed with other books on magic. Yeah. As you walk over there towards Poplin with that book in your hand, you both can suddenly tell that there is definitely somebody in the room with you. Okay. Both of you give me perception checks. You can't pinpoint where it's coming from. You can't pinpoint like really anything other than you just have an uneasy feeling. And Poplin, as you're looking around, your eyes just gloss past something, and you go, no, that's not right. There was something there. My eyes missed it. And you go to look, and you just can't seem to tell what you're looking at. It is just the library. You're just looking at a bookshelf and a bunch of books, and there's nothing out of the ordinary here, but you get a strange feeling that you're looking at something familiar. Okay. It's a specific section of shelf. It's just a shelf of seemingly unimportant books. But you're for whatever reason your eyes can't seem to focus on it. You get up physically and stand closer to it? As you get closer to it, suddenly, the blurriness of what you're looking at, the thing that you can't focus on, seems to be moving away. Whatever it is, you can now see clearly the book of shelves. It's not blurry. You can focus on it. You understand, this is just a book of shelves. And you look from side to side, and you see that, the blurriness of what was here has just shifted. What do you do? Mm-hmm. And Elaina, from your point of view, Poplin is just staring down a bookshelf. I just heard no. Mm-hmm. Give me a persuasion check. You blink your eyes and the blurriness is gone. It has either your eyes were fooling you, there was nothing there in the first place, or whatever seemingly invisible creature this was has disappeared. Yeah. You set it down, and as you... Okay. Poplin, give me an investigation check. Okay. Which one do you do it on? 1, 2, or 4? Okay. So you open the book and you start thumbing through it, trying to figure out, like, what pages did the person who used this open the most? What in this book seemed important to them? Or, like, what do you think could be useful knowledge for you? And you, as you're reading it, you're like, okay, all of this has something to do with getting magic from somebody that I worship, and like the healing benefits of magic and stuff like that. And as you're reading it, you come across a part in the book which is like an entire chapter dedicated to a greater restoration. And as you read it, you're like starting to figure out like, what is this spell? What does it do? Who can cast it and stuff like that? And you are and you think that for a moment the person who was reading this book was like very excited. This was the chapter that they had the most, like, that they had opened the most. And then you read that like this spell would only be good if Josiah was like cursed, or if he like had like levels of exhaustion and stuff like that. But Josiah's not cursed, he's sick. So you don't think that this spell could actually help him. Elaina, you open the book and you, after just a few pages, see that this isn't a book at all. Somebody had carved into the book a place in which a key is being stored. So you take out this metal key and you have no idea where it leads to, what the key opens, or who put it in here. But you get the impression that if specifically this book was left on the shelves and not the other 3 in the series, this key is probably important. No. You have been able to pretty much get into everything with either brute force or picking the lock. Yeah. Yeah, you can go ahead and do that. As Elaina walks to the other side of the library, Poplin, you feel like a pressure on your shoulder, as if somebody's like put their hand there. Is that what you say? Do you turn around? You turn around and no longer invisible, Danny is standing directly in front of you. I could ask you the same question. I thought that was leading you out. Well, I work here. It's like, well, I mean, yeah, this is my royal library. Well, since I made friends with a very nice ex-princess, oh, I'm very aware what you're trying to do. Help is a funny word because I was actually here. Like, I actually am the one who sent you here. Yeah, you're back now. I think you probably heard, like, the last bit of, like, I'm the one who sent you here, and the what? Hi, Elaine. Hi, Elaina. I don't know if I would say employer either. We're just on the same side. I see. What were you gonna say, Sam? You can make a vibe check on Danny. Insight. You can also vibe check Danny. Okay. A few things are starting to add up. The lack of guards in your way, the sudden cleanup and replacement of everything in the infirmary. It's very likely that when you received this letter, that the D on it had no intention of ever, like, actually physically going in and helping you, but that they needed something done, and that they knew enough about you guys that they knew you guys would actually get it done. You both, well, maybe not both. Poplin, you have known Danny for so long. You know his tells, you know when he's lying, you know everything like that. You do not think he's lying. Elaina, you don't really know who Danny is. You have heard the name before from Poplin. You can put 2 and 2 together that D could equal Danny, but D, as far as you're aware, could equal anything. It could be Queen Daisy or King Duncan. It could be anything. But you're also, you both are kind of think, well, if Jordan has been away from the kingdom for so long, it would make sense that she would get a person on the inside, that she would eventually go out into the town and make a friend there. Correct. He also did give you money. I mean, you have the note. And just for Sam's benefit, the note is, like, written in the character information sheet that I sent you. Oh, my cat is scratching at the door. Hi, Finnegan. You can ask him any questions that you want to. Yeah, I made sure to put that key there. I wasn't sure whether or not I would be able to get into the castle and such, so I made sure to put all the clues out for you so that you had an understanding of what you were doing. To to my understanding, I haven't fact-checked this, but this key opens up something in the King and Queen's room. About 5 years. I don't spend a whole lot of time in the castle. I met Jordan while she was in the town, and I recognized her immediately. I suppose that I was the only one to have actually been able to recognize her. So I asked her why wasn't she dead? What was going on? And the fact that I knew who she was, believed she was real because the King and Queen had been trying to write her off, and actually had the guts to ask. The two of us became close friends. We both agreed that the rules in this kingdom are absurd, that the king and the queen need to be stopped, and we need a new ruler. And so initially, Elaina and I decided the best course of action would be, not Elaina, oh my gosh, sorry. Jordan and I decided the best course of action would be slowly infiltrating the castle, slowly getting people who she trusts to work there, and eventually to start a coup and have Jordan be the new ruler. And then Josiah got sick, and our priorities changed. And that's why we have you guys helping. I trusted that if anyone would be capable enough to do this, it would be Poplin. So I told Jordan of that. She agreed. And then I set the whole thing up. I didn't give her very specifics. I didn't want her to worry. But I set up the three of you, because Kyrie's here too. And sadly, I did not plan for the fourth member of your team to go the way it did. I was at my library in the town on the first night. While I managed to get the guards to focus in on the goings of the town and not on the inside of the castle, that meant I couldn't leave my library alone. I'm only here now because Jordan told me of what happened to Taryn, and I was hoping I could help. Believe me, I wanted to tell you. I wanted to get you involved, and I always planned on that happening, but things changed when Josiah got sick, and you were always a part of the plan. You were always going to be, I was always going to tell you, and we were always going to do this together. It just took longer than I wanted that to happen. The next step would be to go up to, well, I would say probably to wait up in Jordan's room until the king and the queen wake up, and then go into their room and try and figure out what this key does. I was never able to make my way upstairs. I was trying to find the cure for Josiah, and I was so focused on that I never managed to actually go upstairs and see what the king and the queen are up to. What I do know, and what might be of interest, is that the queen, Daisy, is very interested in solving this naturally, is what she would say. As in, all of these books, and he gestures to the table, are all hers. She was hoping that maybe there was a natural herb or a magic crystal or something like that that would work like magic but not actually be magic. I still don't know what they have against magic. It's a mixture of both. There are a few people in the castle that I can trust. Like I mentioned, we were trying to form a coup. We were trying to coup and So there are people here that are aware of Jordan and are ready for her reign, and also are taking a step back to try and make Josiah healthy again. I left that note before before I knew I would be able to be in the castle, so there are still people here that can help. As to their capability, I wouldn't say that they could help when it comes to like magic and stuff, but they can hide you and get you around the castle unseen, and like can be trusted with doing this discreetly. There are a few knights, there are a few of the cooks, of the gnome cooks, and most of all, Josiah's nanny. Right now, she would probably be in her quarters. She is up there pretty much all day long. But with it being the middle of the night, she is probably getting rest in her quarters. Correct. She does have her own quarters, so you wouldn't have to worry about waking up the other servants. But I also would recommend just waiting until morning. No, I'm gonna go back to, town, and I will be here again, tomorrow night. What did you say? Alright, you guys can spend some time doing that. Yeah, you just moved books around. Elaina took that one book off the shelf, but then put it right back. So there's not much like that you guys did. It would just be moving the books back to where, moving honestly just the one book that Poplin read back to where it was. As you are saying your goodbyes, Danny gives you a hug and softly whispers, "I'm so sorry." All right. You guys. You guys head. You guys head back upstairs. And do you make any stops along the way? Or do you just go straight to Jordan's room? I'd say you guys have about an hour before people start waking up. Alright. You guys head back up. You notice that all of the noise from the guest quarters have gone down. Everybody who's staying in there is probably long sleeping by now. You head into Jordan's room, and do you guys just go for a long rest? I'd say you would probably, if you took a long rest, it would probably be about like noon that you woke up. So like more likely than not, the king and queen's room will still be empty, and the nanny would be in Josiah's room by then. So that means that Elena's going to be the one doing the talking when it comes to Josiah and the nanny. Yeah, is there anything that you guys want to do beforehand, or is it just long rest time? It was assumed. I mean, you guys could do a short rest. I would recommend a rest, otherwise levels of exhaustion might start. Is there any other initial thoughts or conversations the two of you want to have before going to bed? Alright. So, the two of you, plus Kyrie, who has been here the whole time, take a long rest, and I am going to call the session here because I want the next part. I want Abby to be involved in the next part. So, yeah. Thank you, everybody, for listening to this shorter than normal episode of the Real D&D podcast. And we will be back in 2 weeks. Bye!